Alright guys, welcome back to another CB500X modification video. So I went ahead and got the Givi upper crash bars or engine guard, as well as the lowers that I already had on and installed. I went ahead and put these on. And really the only reason I put them on was to mount some lights. If I had to do it over again, I might have just bought the light mount. I mean, yeah, it will provide some protection, but it did make the bike just a little bit top heavy compared to how it felt before. I'm getting used to it pretty quick, so I think I'm just going to leave them because it's actually, I'm pretty much already used to it. So I want to install a set of aftermarket lights, and you can get from mild to wild as far as pricing on these type of lights. I went ahead and just thought I'd try something a little bit cheaper first to see how they work. And so far, really impressed with these little tiny projectors. And these are two-tone projectors, and they have a high and a low beam, and I'll show you a little bit more about that here in a minute. And I wired them up on a switch right here. I installed it right here. Now the factory fog light switch would go right here on a CB500X. I chose to put this switch here, and this is a 3-position toggle, so when it's in the middle, those lights are off. The lower position is the amber, we'll call them just driving lights. If I flip it up to position 2, that is our high beam lights, which adds a lot of brightness for nighttime driving. So I always leave it in position 1. Therefore, when I go ahead and turn on the ignition, you can see the amber lights come on. And then, like I said, if I'm riding and I want the high lights, I just flip the switch and they change to the bright white light. So don't let the size fool you. These put out a ton of light and actually have, you can probably hear it, a little fan running on the inside to keep the LED chip cool. I did have to buy a second mount, so it came with these little kind of cheap mounts, and then I had to purchase these separately. And then I bought the switch, obviously separate from that. It's wired pretty simple. There's 3 wires that come out of each light. There's your negative wire, a positive wire to activate the low beam, and a positive wire to activate the high beam. Coming down here, I got power coming in, and then obviously the low beam and the high beam. Really simple circuit. Now I'll show you where I tied in. So I already have the accessory Honda cigarette lighter port here. So that's hooked in. There's an accessory port that's running off the ignition under here. There's also another one down right here. This plug right here. And normally it's just plugged off. And if you were pretty ingenious, I don't know, however you want to say that, you can actually unplug this, and if you find some pins, and maybe that's why I save all my old harnesses, I was able to actually just take a couple pins I had and plug them into the rubber stopper here that was already there, and then I just ran this wire. So this is your positive and ground, you can see, and it just runs under the side and up to the switch. Very simple, didn't have to take anything off, just loosened this bolt here, kind of peeled this back to get my wiring up there. It's actually very easy. Obviously using that circuit, it's already fused. I don't have to play with add any fuses or anything like that. So that worked out really good. It actually looks very factory. I put a little bit of, this nylon loom on there. It looks very factory, in my opinion. So it worked out good. So now the question is, how do they perform at night? Well, during the day, the amber lights are meant to be a visual distraction. So as you're coming down the road, it just creates that separation. It makes your bike look a little bigger than it is. It would have been nicer to get them spaced a little further down, but it just wasn't something that I could accomplish with the mounts that I had. So that's where they're at. They are bright. and just a little bit of color differentiation helps with, you know, when people are coming towards you, or, you know, keeping someone from pulling out in front of you. It's kind of like draws their attention a little bit better. That's, after all, that's the goal. All right, so that is obviously the purpose of the low beam lights. Flip on the high beam lights, and I have them aimed so they are equal with the high beam light up here at night. Best thing to do is to line them up, you know, be in a garage with the door closed where it's dark, where you can kind of aim everything. You'll see when these switch from low to high, it actually is a very sharp cutoff, and it jumps up and down. I'll try to get a shot of that for you. So that's pretty much it for the video. I'll end it with a little bit of footage of how the lights look on the road at night. All right, so here I'm out here at night. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the ignition on. You can see, so there's what the yellow lights look like. I can promise it's actually a little more light than what the camera's showing, but so that's what the low beams, you can see they are down, they are aimed lower than the cutoff of the regular headlight. So if I flip on the high beams, you can kind of see the difference. All right, so now if I flip the switch forward to the middle position, actually shut those lights off, so there's just the high beams, or the regular headlights. Then I flip on the high lights. You can see it is a ton more light than the regular headlights. So for example, here's the regular headlights, hitting the high beam, and then we'll turn on the LEDs. Huge, huge, huge difference. So as you can imagine, so either way you want to ride it, so if you want to ride like that, you know, even at night, you know, you're putting a lot more light, usable light, right in front of the bike and off to the sides of the road, that you can, you know, see animals or whatever coming out in front of you. And then obviously if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you're gonna flip on the high beams. I mean, that is a ton more light, way more usable. So hopefully gives you an idea. You know, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get really good performance. As you can see, these lights work really, really well. And I will have obviously links to where I bought them in the description if you want to buy the same ones, and all the parts I used. Be sure to leave a comment, like the video, subscribe. Until next time, we will see you later. Thanks.